Good morning, everyone. Welcome to yet another powerful webinar series from the auspices of Business Research Consult. And today we have another wonderful presenter, a distinguished HR professional, and a risk analyst. He is no other person than Mr. Adeyemi Olanrewaju Ajayi. He is a top 150 global HR influencer, a top 8 African HR thought leader, a award winner of the Salisbury HR Award in 2021. He's also a member of various professional institutes, among which include ACCA, CIPM, Global Association of Risk Professional USA, the Institute of Operational Risk in UK, NITAD, among many others. He has distinguished himself in the industry, and he will be discussing how the link between town and gown will be more robust within the academic setting. Today, we'll be renewing the entrepreneurial focus of the academia. He will be sharing insights on how our spirit can change from collecting from government to meet our needs as academics. And he will be showing us how we can be more entrepreneurial as a school, as individuals, in order to achieve our aims without subventions. We humbly call him Professor because he's well known for impacting knowledge. So, Prof, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, fantastic. You can see it.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm trying to show my face, at least so that when we see, we know ourselves very well. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to come on here to give this conversation, to lead this conversation. Like I said, like you said, it will be very brief, and I'm well prepared for that, so that we have room for questions and answers. We do hope people can join this morning. So we'll be talking about town and gown, how to renew the entrepreneurial focus of the academia. It's an interesting topic to me. Sorry, permit me to take off my camera so that I can have a very good bandwidth for my internet.
No problem.
So, am I permitted?
No problem, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So the town and gown has been a matter of discussion at some point in time. And the essence is for us to see how academic engagement helps to develop entrepreneurial mindsets. I've severally, not once, not twice, been part of a review of postdoctoral thesis for some of my friends, when we work together. And I did ask people if some of those my friends who were doing that, I asked them, what is the import of this thing? What financial implication does it have? Then they couldn't place anything strong on it. It's more like we have that knowledge, but converting it to business becomes something that is a bit challenging. So we'll also be able to learn how to drive our thought process on how to connect the town and gown for effective career success for those in town and those also in gown. Also, it will help us to apply our academic knowledge to develop entrepreneurial mindset. Many times I see people chasing grants, whereas there are more opportunities out there for people not to even to earn more than what grant will give you. So we also see opportunities where people can make more money rather than even in grants. And also, how can we make financial gains from academic engagement and ascertain opportunities beyond the academic environment? Many times I have seen, sir, some people said this thing is denying them access. Some people want to join, but they said access is being denied to them.
It's opened. No waiting room, nothing. Maybe I will
Oh,
send
okay.
the.
I've sent them the link.
Okay, okay.
I'll send them the link. Sorry. You're calling me to join. Okay, so our conversation this morning will be a very light one. It's a very short time. I remember when I was the director for strategy, a topic like this, whereas we want to know the relationship between the town and the gown, and also see how both can be of benefit to each other in terms of knowledge, in terms of practice. So what really is town? What is gown? Now, I make it quite very simple, very, very simple, that a town is where knowledge is cooked. And I put the word cooked in parentheses so that it doesn't seem as if you are cooking the books. No, it's where people are being prepared in terms of knowledge, in terms of theory, in terms of principles in various fields, so that there can be growth and development. And of course, it has very high for even the professionals. Unfortunately, many people do not regard the strength of these academic institutions, bearing in mind how they can add value to their practices. During the development of body of knowledge for CIPM, I was also the chairman of the Research and Publication Committee. We brought two postdoctoral candidates together to also work with other people in different areas. Our focus is to balance the academic resource with the practicing resource. And I can tell you that gave birth to a very fantastic document, the body of knowledge for HR in Nigeria. So that is one of the ways where we see value propositions. At one end, there is development of knowledge. At the other end, there is utilization of the knowledge that was developed. Unfortunately, is the disconnects. The disconnect comes when the town feels that they don't need the gown, and the gown feels that the town is not relevant. And the truth of the matter is whatever you prepare in the academia is much more desired within the practice environment. So we are within this that at times what we learned in school in terms of theory may be totally different from what we're doing out there. For example, I studied animal science and I'm doing things totally different. So my experience in the town is different from what I actually did all through, way back in school. So what am I trying to say in essence is many times there are divergence, people move away from their gown when they get to town, but still there is a connection. There is a connecting point between these two concepts. But there'll be more focus on the gown. How can we harness entrepreneurial capabilities? What are the value propositions for us? What benefits can it bring to us? In the gown, you find more of researchers. And I'll also tell you that in the town, there are also researchers. For an example, and of course, if you don't mind, I can be sharing my experience with you as we move along here. For example, I have been involved in a particular research for about 10 years in the financial services sector. I actually asked my client at the person in the academic environment to do this for you. The response was that, oh, they've attempted one before, reference to so many researchers. At the end of the day, they couldn't make any sense out of it. So they said, you know what? This is good for academic consumption. It's not for business practice. So that's why they sought for the real practitioners to be involved in the research work. We've been on it for about 10 years. Again, in the course of it, we try to bring one or two people from the academic environment to join us. And I'll tell you, we didn't achieve desired results. fantastic theoretical base, fantastic hypothesis, fantastic approach to data gathering, but application to business was a big problem. So we went away with the thoughts that most of these things are just good for academic consumption. That what we're actually preparing in GAU, we're asking ourselves questions if they really have relevance to what we are practicing in town. And I'm not disdaining the GAU at all. What I'm trying to say is there are a huge market for the academia, in terms of research, even in terms of training and development. That's the truth. I just completed a training and development. I'm still in Abuja as I speak with you, a 5 days training and development, wherein the materials that we used for this, we had to get it from the academia. We had to ask someone to prepare it. We had to ask someone to make it available for us from the academia. And, that was a kind of revenue for him, an opportunity for him. Many times, trainers like us, we look for people in the academia to even help us to develop some materials, so that they can give us insight into some of the approach we should have in terms of facilitating training and learning. Unfortunately, many times we do not get, so we had to resort to our own traditional approach of doing our own research in order to achieve results. So for the town, that's where you find the business practitioners, the professionals, and also you find the business consultants. And of course, you find realities here where the product of the gown is being tested and subject to several empirical tests, knowing fully well that the outcome of researches, development, and all that must find its roots in development of the society and humanity at large. So there is a strong connection between these two concepts, and that is where I'm going to. There are huge opportunities. Even during this ASU strike, I know a few friends of mine who, we've been able to connect and introduce ourselves to different kind of works to do. And I think it should be a continuum. My next slide is going to talk a little bit about so many things, because of my time. I really wish I can say a lot here. This is where the real issue is. Entrepreneurial focus of the academia are broken into 5 main areas: their own personal focus, the opportunities out there, and the application of scientific knowledge, connection between the town and academia, as well as business mindset. So in terms of personal focus, before you as an academia can get involved in entrepreneurial concepts, you must be convinced personally. I've heard so many people who say that the best this person can do is to remain in the academia. And I said, no, that if you can open up the mind of this person through personal conviction, there are a lot of opportunities out there. The fact that you are within the academia shouldn't block your mind about your own personalities in accessing opportunities, entrepreneurship wise. Your personal conviction is the first rule. If you're able to convince yourself that beyond your academic practice, you have more opportunities out there, you have values to deliver out there, I can assure you that it's a matter of time. Once you're known, you can easily roll into that space. And we have examples out there. I met a young man, not a young man, he's nearing retirement. He's been in the academic environment for quite some time. He returned back to work at the Central Bank of Nigeria at a much higher level. He's a professor, so he was in the academia when he came. We had a conversation with him, and I was trying to find out why would you leave the academic environment for here. He told me that he discovered that all along he's always had this mindset to work in a corporate environment, and he had businesses running for him. He had farms going on for him. So personal conviction is what will stretch your mind. Personal conviction is what will put you on that pedestal. of entrepreneurial focus. If you're not personally convinced, it's very difficult for you to take the first step. Some people believe that you don't need entrepreneurial mindset. All you need to do, write your research paper, make your presentation, and you keep, churning out papers that way. But I think there are more values to that. With what happened with ASU strike, I can say that we have more opportunities within the academia to assess and harness the available opportunities for us out there. And of course, the second thing is personal drive. Now, first is you are convinced that this is what you want, then you need to drive yourself. Okay, you define your destination. Entrepreneurial focus is part of what you think you need. Then there's need for self-drive. Self-drive now comes with you now making yourself available for learning, because I'll tell you for a fact, the experiences are not the same. The experience you have as an academia is quite different from the experience you have as an entrepreneur. I have practiced entrepreneurial, and I know that the experiences are not the same. I've had to work with people in the academia on several projects. The experiences are not the same at all. In fact, when it even comes to a research approach, and you just discover that there are certain principles and guidelines you need to follow within the academic environment. So personal drive starts with learning what really happens in town. You cannot just come into town and step into places like that. You need to understand the ecosystem, because the ecosystem is quite very different. It comes with some kind of thoughts and principles on its own. And these are changing thoughts, these are changing principles. They are not static, very dynamic. What you think you knew yesterday could change today. And many times they challenge our own knowledge in terms of what we have acquired through academic prowess. So the drive for entrepreneurship is what you must put at the back of your mind. The second one, which is opportunities, is what you now have to seek for. What are the opportunities for academia? And I'll just mention a few. Even working with governments at states or federal level, a lot of research is going on. I was opportune last year to head a project with the head of service, at the office of the head of service. There is a civil service transformation going on. At that point, we're opportune to bring in a postdoctoral fellow to work with us on that project, on that transformation. I would say because of his ability to deliver. So in terms of support of various initiatives for governments, for non-governmental organizations as well, there are a lot to connecting. I'll talk more about how to harness those opportunities. You can also have opportunities to even carry out research and you'll be paid for it. For example, the research I told you about is the financial services sector, deposit money banks, how to research about deposit money banks and give advice to clients whether they should continue with a particular deposit money bank or not. And this is a year in, year out project that happens. And this happens in tens of millions for you to. So just imagine an academia stepping into that, is adding that to his portfolio and earning that much, So, and there are a few other ones like that around. So there are opportunities for the academia, first, in also supporting government initiatives in the private sector. Opportunities also exist in the delivery of lectures, where people want to listen to you. If you say that you're from the academic environment, I can bet you have more listeners, than even people in practice. That is, if you are able to balance the two environments together, you have more listeners. There are also opportunities in town, because the system keeps changing. Let me also share this with you from personal experience. Earlier this year, we had to look at the fintech industry. They have very high rates of turnover, extremely high rate of turnover. And we discovered that many of them prefer virtual work. They don't want to work within this office space. So I did research with two friends of mine. And when I said research this time around, we approach the HR, approach the employees, trying to gain insights into why, they're that mobile. What do they really want, in terms of solution? We discovered that money is not the motivator anymore in the fintech environment. No, it's the brand, okay? It's the brand, it's the fact that, okay, I have accelerated career in this place, and there are no career opportunities in the other place where I was living. So all these are factors that happened or we saw when we did that research. And that's, we shared it. It was a particular fintech company that actually sponsored that. And by the time we're done, they were able to take right decision and they're able to retain more of their employees. And I believe that these opportunities can be harnessed by the academia. So how to harness it is really a challenge, because at times you need a kind of networking with the people in town to know where these things lie. Then we have application of scientific knowledge, which is the third focus. For all the scientific knowledge we gain, we need to look at target areas, where we think our research work has value. And I'll tell you how to, approach this. At times we do research and we just keep our research work within the academic environment. We don't push it out there. People don't know what we have done. They've not heard about us before. There's nothing that stops us from having our own blog where you placate your research work, where you put it out there, where you make people know that, okay, I've done X, Y, Z, this is the summary of it, and blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, people all over will need to come and learn that your scientific, approach to doing things, and you just be solving people's problem. What people want is not what you know, it's what you can do. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, this is my own personal opinion. I've discovered, discussing with some of my colleagues in the academic environment, that most time we pride ourselves in what we know, which is quite very excellent, but what does it transform into? In terms of our application of our scientific knowledge, we need to look at the benefit of our research applications. What does it translate into? What solution are we trying to provide? And there are huge problems going on in the country. We have problem with the digital economy. It's an area that we can have research. We have huge problem in human capacity index. We're having a lot of workforce migration. Though the global workforce migration is increasing globally, but it's more pronounced within the sub-Saharan Africa. So these are areas where we need to quickly look into research-wise and ask ourselves how we can get better as a country. And such research is something that can bring solution, even advising the government how to go about it. So the fourth focus is connection between the town and the academia. And I'm going to spend quite a lot of time here, okay? One of the biggest problems we have is the fact that both the town and the town are claiming superiority. Earlier this year, I was in a state in the south of Nigeria. We had professors and consultants were at the table. So our consultant side, and we had a meeting. These professors in the academic environment, they did a research, very good research work, fantastic research work, which they presented to the commissioner, but in terms of practice, she was struggling with it. So she contacted us. And when she contacted us, she brought up the issue and wanted us to see how we can apply the work that was done. It has to do with the structure within the educational sector of that state. How would they have structure that can go as far as the grassroots, and also structure that addresses the people within the vocational environment? How can we bring them up, training them, giving them some certifications, making them to have a sense of value for what they do, meaning the artisans, how do you train them, balancing the academic part with what they know, and also giving them business sense. So at that table, there was huge divide huge divide because the academic environment research appear not to address the realities of what the practitioners believe that the target audience are facing. So while the conversation was going on, I just asked the question that, okay, for those of us in practice, why can't we take this research work, do your own research and come up with something and let us see if there are variances? Then that is where we should start our conversation from. You know, already what I saw was there was a mindset built already about the academic environment that what they do mainly is just theory. They just churn out theories. There is no, you know, any application of it. And I said, okay, you know what, you go and do yours. You know, bring it back. Let's come to this table and have a conversation. Unfortunately, when this was done, the research was done, I wanted to say fortunately, when the so-called, permit me to say, research was done and it was brought to the table, the same thing was, you know, arrived at. And leaving that table, the takeaway was that there is a huge relationship between the town and the gown. So we, at the point of delivery, I was part of the committee that was asked to implement and execute. I said to both parties, I said, there's no way we can function apart. It's not possible. We cannot succeed apart. We can only succeed together. So I had to advise, despite your knowledge in the town, you cannot do away with what is happening within the academic environment. And that led to the issue of networking between the two parties, the town and the gown. Now, how do we perceive people in the academic environment? It's perceived within the practice environment that they are more like in an enclosure. And what I mean an enclosure is they're within an environment where what matters more to them are theories and you know, having more academic journals, but not having interest in providing solution, you know, for so many pressing needs. This is the perception I said, of so many practitioners, you know, based on my own conversation. That's, you know, having discussions with them. And I want to say that this is the time that people in the academic environment, I mean, the gown, should start opening up for networking. There are so many business seminars. There's so many meetings. There's so many fora where there are opportunities to network, to meet people, you know, people that can be of value, people that can deliver so many, you know, where you can cross-pollinate values. Let me just put it that way, where you can cross-pollinate values. And that will reduce the battle of theory and practice. You know, like I said, the perception from the practicing environment and that of the academic environment seem not to be aligning. But with very strong networking base, building the right relationship, we can break this barrier. I think there is a strong barrier somewhere. And, you know, that also makes us to see how we in the practice environment can support the research in the academic environment, bringing connection between research and realities. You know, what we face in terms of realities and what research is saying as a connecting line, which is what should really truly bring us together. Let me also tell you this, and I think it's an experience that I had about 8 or 9 years ago. There is a model in risk management, we call it CAMEL model. This CAMEL model is used to assess how healthy a financial institution is, especially deposit money banks. So when we had a research work to do, we adopted this model. Now, what happens in theory with respect to this model has a lot of algorithms and statistical evaluation, you know, in it. And this statistical evaluation has a lot to do with you understanding so many, it has a lot to do with understanding so many theories, statistical work, you know, from the academic environment. However, For us in the practice environment, it was just more like a straightforward thing for us in terms of the kind of for us, C means capital adequacy, A means asset quality, M means management, E means liquidity. Now we discovered that we don't need so many statistical application, to achieve some things from the academic environment, asking us, which statistical tool did you use? Yes, we use statistical tool. We use the legit regression analysis. But when we're now being asked about some hypotheses and theories and all that, that was when I would say, oh, we don't need this. We don't really need this. This is where we're going to. And again, that turns to a battle between the town and the gown. Eventually, we're able to align our resources together, all for us to achieve a common purpose. So there is need for us in the academic environment to open ourselves up to networking, network with people in government, network with consultants in practice, in town, and you'll be surprised the kind of opportunities that will be open up to you and give you opportunities for entrepreneurial mindset. And when I'm saying entrepreneurial mindset, it even goes beyond consulting. Okay, there are so many other things you can do in terms entrepreneurial wise, owning your own different kinds of businesses. The way you would do it as a practitioner will be different from the way you do it in practice. As an academia, let me also say this. When we finished university quite some years ago, over 2 decades and a half, or almost over 2 decades ago, we had some of our friends, in fact, who are also professors in the academic environment. Who I was a nutritionist, animal nutritionist, so I was good at that way back in school. So we learned some theories way back, but we had some of our friends who actually went into the real practice of poultry production. Now at our alumni meeting, having conversation, we discovered that our colleagues who had the academic environment, academic knowledge, as well as the practice knowledge, were doing far better than those who left the university and are doing better. They are doing well in their business, but not as good as those who had the academic knowledge, the academic background, as well as what is happening in town. So it gives them upper edge, or give them edge rather, not upper edge, over just also having knowledge of town. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, if you're able to acquire the two and balance it very well, you stand better chance, especially those of you in the academic environment. You stand quite better chance. And the need to also develop business mindsets is very, very important. For the people in the academic environment, business mindset should not be for you. Especially in our environment, this kind of environment where we are, a lot of things that you need to put forth. People talk about multiple streams of income. I want to say I stand to be corrected. I want to say to a very large extent that you will have more opportunities with multiple streams of income than people in practice, okay? So it's just for you to have development of that business mindset, and you need to understand the business environment. I think I have a few minutes to go on this. So these are 5 focused areas. And please, when I'm talking about entrepreneurship focus, I'm not just talking where you just offer just consultancy services alone. No, there are so many other areas. There's so many other things entrepreneurial-wise you can do. You can, in fact, I would love to see somebody from the academic environment championing startups. There are big problems with startups now. I'm a business mentor on Founders Institute, which is a global association where we help people raise seed investment, we mentor them, we monitor their growth in terms of business and their startups. And I'll say that there are huge opportunities there for the academia, where they can bring a lot of support and also participate in it, and also build their own businesses around that concept. So for to think deeper than what you've said, there are challenges for the academia. And there is more focus on lecturing than business. I mean, I just want to put it in a very simple way, where we focus more on lecturing. Many times people, focus on what they want to just deliver and go, and to go and read another journal, see what is happening in another environment. There are more than that. I mean, more to entrepreneurial mindset than just lecturing within the academic environment. Then time is your major challenge, because by the time you go around, you deliver your work that you're expected to do, you do research, you deliver lectures, you have little or no time. But can I tell you this? One of the biggest things you can do for yourself is be ready to stretch yourself. As a business person, a lot of times I have very, very little time, very, very little time, to attend to so many things. I'm more focused on business, So time can be a very, very big challenge. And of course, the disconnect between town and down can be a big challenge also. Not knowing what is happening around, not following the trends of events and there, but a little stretch wouldn't be a bad idea. There's also more focus on grants than generating income from consultancy. Now, in this case, I am more particular. Yeah, many times we wait for grants to do some things, and I don't think grants are coming like before. I do not think grants are coming like before. So I think there is need now to have a refocus, of where you can even raise funds. Many people in the academic environment this self-fund their researches. You forget to say that. Then the perception of business practitioner about academia, which I mentioned earlier, should change. We should have change of narrative. So why many researchers do not bring money for the academia? I mean, I would rather want us to discuss this because of constraint of time. If you look at research and money, many research work are just there on the shelf. They don't translate into money. So I think it is time we start looking at the financial aspects of it, and how do we convert this? And there are times that we have research work that we can convert into consultancy services. What I told you, the research I did with my friend on fintech earlier in the year, and also about three other businesses that was quite doing very well for us, doing quite very, very well. So I strongly believe that the more you put out the research work there and people can see the solution to their businesses there, then you can have a better outlook. So there is need to change the narratives. I will want to mention opportunities for you. Then I think this is about the last slide. I'm conscious of time. The opportunities for you is you need to collaborate. We want to collaborate with you. For those of us in the practice environment, we really, really want to collaborate with you. We want to work with you. We want to also share our information with you, and also share opportunities with you, and also see areas where you can add values to us. It's something that we play complementary role to each other. So the disconnect is hurting everybody. I really wish many times we come to a forum like this and bring people together to see the values we can deliver for one another. And of course, there is need to also network, connect with people, ask questions. Let me share this with you. There is a professor in Ekiti State, that is my home state, sometimes December 2020, where this professor, was working in UI, then he was heading the government parastatal in Ekiti State. So I was contacted to carry out a research for about 6 states in Nigeria by one of the government institutions. So I could not, do that because of some happenings around me that time. So I decided to introduce this professor to it. And it was based on our networking. And I'll tell you, after I delivered on that, I think he just went straight on their retainership list, and he's still there till date, offering them values, doing quite a lot with them. So you don't know the opportunities that can open up for you when you network with people in practice. And of course, you need to seek opportunity also for consultancy rather than grant for your research. There are a lot of consultancy work you can do where the byproducts can help you. And of course, social media is a world on its own. So you need to live there. Social media is a world on its own. So you need to live in social media. And what that means is, before we used to have the physical world and the spiritual world, but now we have the physical world, the spiritual world, and the social media world. Okay, so, and it's offering huge opportunities to quite a lot of us, lots of opportunities that you can find on the social media. And unfortunately, from observation, discussing with a few people, we play less. I mean, people in the academic environment, we play less on the social media. I want to tell you this: your views, your opinions are taken as opinion of experts on social media. Okay, and that to a large extent can help you gain visibility, bring opportunities for you, and ultimately build your business mindset. So I would like to stop here and give room for question and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. We thank you for the presentation, and I think it's quite enlightening. And I am sure our colleagues will be more open to entrepreneurship than just writing and teaching. So we have the next 3 to 5 minutes to ask our questions so that Prof can answer those questions. Or if we have comments, you can also do so. Just unmute yourself and present your question. However, you can also write in the chat box so that we can read it to Prof to answer us. The floor is yours, participants. Okay, while we await the questions, let me also say that this is the 14th in the webinar series this year, and all the videos are on YouTube. We'll share the link to you, but we need you to send your emails to the chat box so that we can send this to you, so that you can follow our webinar series. We also have a WhatsApp group that will enlist all participants that are interested so that you can know the next webinar time and the guest speaker. Please, let's utilize this 3 to 5 minutes to ask questions on how we can collaborate with practitioners, how we can fill into the consultancy opportunities. Since we have a very agile and intellectual here, we can use the opportunity to network and interact. Let's use the opportunity. Participants, please ask your questions or comments before we close this webinar for today. Okay, Prof, it seems there are no questions. Let me thank you once again for honoring us, for sharing your views on how the town and gown can be more interactive and collaborative. We pray that God increases you in your wisdom, health, and in your wealth. Thank you once again, and we hope that when next we call you, you'll be available for us again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof.
It's a pleasure having you around. So if you don't mind, I'll send your LinkedIn address so that we can all follow you on LinkedIn. And I also want to share the slide and the video to our participants so that they can watch and listen to it over and over again, sir.
Okay, no problem. You will get the slide right away.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. So it's
bye-bye
from here. Thank you.